Good morning. This is Liberty Mornings with Luke. Today is November 5th, 2020. This is 2 days after the 2020 presidential election, and the whole climate of it all is kind of crazy. So, like I said, my name is Luke. I'm starting this podcast based off of what my friends told me I should do as I continue to rant about how neither party has any of the right answers, even though I don't think I have the right answers, but I would like to see more than one party or two parties hold control over a country of over 335 million people. I feel like there's more difference in thought and diversity of thought in this country than that. So that's part of the reason why I'm starting this podcast. My name's Luke Fecto, like I said. I'm 26. I've lived in 5 different states and 1 different country. I've been all over Western Europe with my family when I was younger. Both my parents were Air Force, were raised kind of that way in the government. I've been to small towns, large cities, medium cities, the middle of nowhere. I've been all over. I've been a recruiter for the Air Force myself for a little bit. So essentially, I've seen a bit. I would say my anecdotal experience or my lived experience is quite large, but my education also seems to lend itself to wanting to start something like this. I want to bring us back to the founding ideals. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Basically our unalienable rights that we laid out in our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. Like, why does it seem like we've totally forgotten that? Why is it always left versus right, right versus wrong? Why can't we have moral basis that we all agree on and still have a political difference in ideology, right? Bigger government, limited government. So I'm trying to start that conversation again, and myself as a conservative libertarian, or what they call the Libertarian Right, and there's a bunch of memes out there, you can look it up. Some of them are pretty funny, actually. I love it. I just can't see why we can't have civil conversations anymore. Excuse me. Why is it always like yelling at the other side for having a different political view or opposing ideals? You get the people on the left and right that do the same thing, and like I said, you tell a conservative or somebody on the right, oh, I voted for a Green Party candidate or constitutional candidate or libertarian candidate, and their first response is, wow, you're taking votes away from my candidate, whether it's a Republican candidate or the Democratic candidate on the left. It happens on both sides. It's like, why do you not respect my opinion, to my right to vote for who I think reflects my personal beliefs based off of my life experiences and my education? And that's kind of what I want to try to get into here. So like I said, I graduated Oregon State University with my bachelor's in history in 2018. I've gotten an applied mechanics associate's degree from the Community College of the Air Force. Some of you guys out there know what that means, but essentially it's a fancy word for, hey, you're a mechanic. So which has nothing to do with politics, but I think it gives me a different frame of reference, because I'm super interested in how things work and why things work the way they do. So the purpose of starting this podcast for me is to kind of educate people on the Ludwig von Mises school of thought and the F.A. Hayek school of thought, which are somewhat conflicting but have a lot of similarities, and that's part of that purpose there. So I believe I can make this work. I've told, hey, you like to go on rants politically anyway, so this is just my introductory podcast. I'll have a lot more facts and figures on the second one. I just wanted to put this out there and why I'm making this podcast. And eventually I'll have guests and all that, people to talk to, people to go back and forth with, because I have friends of all shapes and sizes, all friends that have all different ideologies, and I'd like to get them on here and talk with me, and essentially have a civil discussion, not one of these, hey, you're stupid, your ideology doesn't make any sense, even though we all have facts and figures to back our side. Oh, but you debunk it because that, you get the right saying it's fake news, you get the left saying that's not a credible source, even though credible sources seem to only be what they want to hear, and then on the right, fake news is whenever they don't believe in something when it's clearly evidence that that's probably, a decent source. Granted, there's quite a few bad sources out there too, so I guess fake news does exist, but not to the extent the right wants you to think it does. So yeah, they call me conservative libertarian or conservatarian, the liberal right. If that makes any sense, the conservative. conservative liberal, conservative libertarian. Basically, as a conservative libertarian or the libertarian right, I believe that a smaller government's the way to go. Basically, the government should only be responsible for the infrastructure of the country, the security of a country, and the daily workings of like the government itself. And you might be able to throw infrastructure in that, but even I believe infrastructure can be run by private companies, as evidenced in New Hampshire, and I believe the mid-1800s, which will be for another episode and another time. But there was a time where private companies ran the roadways, and they only maintained roadways that were in use by the majority of people. Instead of making 20 different routes to get somewhere, there's maybe 2 main routes, and those were maintained by private companies. So that's much better for the environment and better for the government, and they did it a lot cheaper, which you could get into like John Stossel does. I guess Stossel's probably a guy I look up to in terms of reporting. But like I said, this is my ideologies on the libertarian side of things. So that's why freedom-minded ideology. If you want to go out on your front porch, smoke a blunt while you're shooting your guns off with your partner of the same sex or gender, I don't really care what you do, as long as you're not hurting anybody. And you're not hurting yourself, which some people make the argument, oh, you're hurting yourself by doing drugs and all that. But at the same time, that's not my place or the government's place to tell you what you can and can't do. So call me fairly libertarian there, or too far into liberty, but to me liberty is a freedom from tyranny, and there can be a freedom of tyranny of government and freedom of tyranny of community and social thought. Because if you think about it, tyranny of itself is kind of an open definition that people like to tweak to themselves, which I'll get into in another episode on what I believe tyranny actually is, where it came from, why tyrants are so feared, but tyranny is not understood. So that's where I'm at with my freedom-minded ideology, liberty or death, right? The Gadsden flag, don't step on snake. So this man here would like to talk about that later. My thoughts on the current political climate, it being 2 days after our November elections here in 2020. Trump versus Biden. I don't know why. Like I said, it's left and right. We have other candidates. There's actually like 3 other candidates that are actually on most ballots. But you vote for one of them, you're taking a vote away from my side. Yeah, no, actually, how about we all just vote on what we actually believe? Otherwise, we just get this perpetual left versus right, back and forth, right? That's going to destroy us at some point. And actually, in some cases, can be made that it's already destroyed parts of America. But okay, so before I went off the deep end, I cut myself off at the last one. But we can save that for another video, another time. So basically, my current thoughts on the political climate right now, like I said, totally jacked up. 2 sides going at it when there's multiple other ideologies out there. So my whole issue is trying to free America from this 2-party system. Why do we feel the need to only vote one of 2 ways? Especially when both sides are big government, big spending, very fiscally irresponsible, very weird on social issues on the right, and very weird on economic issues on the left. Basically, they just don't understand how to make it work. So if we can make these stuff work, then maybe we can come up back with civil discourse and sit down with our political rivals again and have an actual conversation with them, instead of thinking my facts are more right than yours. So basically, it comes down to that for me. And my Liberty mornings are about that, is learning the true meaning of freedom again as Americans, because we seem to have forgotten it, and we let the government step all over us. So if you like this podcast or think I should keep going with these videos, drop a like, give me some ideas, comment what I should talk about. I'll do more research next time. This is more just what I want to talk about and what I'm into. And yeah, and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. I'm not going to call you an idiot for it. I try to engage you. I might think it's a dumb idea, but that doesn't make you dumb. So yeah, go ahead and drop a like, drop a comment, give me an idea, give me something to talk about. From my point of view, I will try to find facts and figures to back my next arguments here, and I have some for this one, but I decided to leave this one a little light. Welcome to the podcast. This is Liberty Mornings with Luke, And this is my first major podcast or video cast on YouTube. Thank you.